Hi, I'm Brandon, and welcome to Nature Meets Paper, the place where we go on an adventure to discover the world of marine biology. You click the blue icon. So what does that mean? Alright, I'll tell you. So the blue icon, the blue thumbnail, is the segment of How to Art. The segment where I show you how I do my art. I post new videos every Tuesday and Saturday, Saturday at 8 a.m. and Tuesday at 4 p.m. There are plenty of ways to do art. This is just how I do it. Brush is ready. Let's dive in. I had a terrible reference photo to begin with. Look at that. Wow. I also had to figure out how to paint the light scale patterns of the fish. Triggerfish have pronounced scales and texture. I wanted to replicate that here. As always, I work on my background first. I found my reference photo was too busy to really appreciate the patterns of the fish, so I simplified it. The tank at the aquarium was dark blue and washed all the colors out into a blue, kind of blue hue. I want to make sure that the colors of the fish stand out from the background. Luckily, orange and blue are complementary colors. I work on my background first from the top right hand corner to the bottom left. I am left-handed and I don't want to get paint all over my hand, clothes, or arm. If you are right-handed, go in the opposite direction. I am starting with my darkest colors this time around. I lay out all of my blacks first, and then I go in with my regular style of mid-tones to darks, then lights. I start with a sandy brown color from the lower segment and a medium brown for the top portions. As I let the orange and brown colors dry, I add highlights of gray to my black areas. I mapped out the pattern, spacing, and size of each dot needed to be for the scale texture. I make these in a dark brown. These will be the darkest parts of the scale. Basically the shadows. As I work on the light portion, I use glazing medium to see patterns and colors underneath. The glazing medium changes the opacity of the paint. I paint the shapes and structures of the fish to give it some nice forms. In this fish, the light source is coming from above. I add highlights to the scales on the dorsal surface between my mid-tones and darks. Everything has a high contrast look since I haven't glazed over it to soften the details yet. I noticed that my front portion color was too dark. You can see me glaze a mix of white and brown over this section to lighten it up. I can usually fix my mistakes. I just need to figure out how. I also work on laying out the first layers of the dorsal and anal fins. I just want to get down a layer now so that I can add more detail later. I glaze again to create the shape I am looking for. I don't want my painting to be flat. When doing this last glazed layer, I make sure to leave some light brush marks and some patchy areas. These fish are not smooth, and I don't want to give the impression that they are. I'm happy with the amount of detail on the dorsal surface, so I go into the last layers of glaze. This time I use a bright orange to glaze over everything. This process pushes all of the colors into place. The cool thing about using glazing medium is that you can see through every layer. This gives the piece a shine and a glow that isn't captured on camera. It creates a depth to the painting. To tie the fish back into the painting and make it look like it's a part of the scene, I glaze a light layer of blue to the shadows of the fish. You can do this trick as well to your subject of your painting. In the shadows, pull some colors from the environment or background into your subject. After I lay down the background colors onto the shadows, I go in with my highlights. These are going to be the brightest and lightest colors. They're applied to the surface that face the light source. Once this is done, I can go back through and clean up my lines by adding tiny finishing details, dark lines, and shadows in places that need them. Finally, I finish with the eyes. I fill in the pupils with black, and then I add tiny details for the highlights of the eyes. I do this dance between darks and lights. What I'm really doing is adding clean lines to my painting. I often see people using only mid-tones and their art looks very flat. I want to make sure that you believe that my subject is real and is tangible. I want to capture the character of the animal as well. And in order to do that, I need to be able to clean up my strokes, make it look nice and clean and crisp, and bring life to this painting. With that done, I will call this painting finished. Thanks for watching this video. I'm selling my Christmas t-shirt at teespring.com. You can find that in the link down below. I have men's, women's v-necks, and long sleeve tees. Each shirt is $20. I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you for being an active member of this community by leaving likes, comments, and sharing. The only way I can grow as a channel is if you guys share this content. If you haven't already, you go ahead and watch the science portion of this video. Click the little eye and that'll send you there. Happy creating and God bless.